Hi, Michelle of It's All Yoga um, and Magic as the assistant. Today we're going to go over one of my favorite upper chest openers. So sometimes when we think of heart opener, we really think of just the band of center chest, but it's super delicious to get up here under the collarbones, what I call the upper chest, the UUC. So you're going to need three things: a mat. If you have a mat that isn't like the super dense Manduka mat, that's great. A mat somewhere in the middle, like not super thin, not super thick. But if that's all you have, then great, let's work with it. And then a block or something that is a little bit thicker that can give you a little bit of height and density. And then a blanket or a little pillow. So if you need to, press pause, get those three things, and then we're gonna get started. So you can see that I have rolled this mat up. So just from one end, take it and start to roll it up in a really fairly tight roll so that there's not a big pocket, it's pretty firm. And you don't have to be OCD about it, just do the best you can. And once you get that all rolled up, then put it down on the floor with what will be in the direction of your head, this little tab. So make sure that the flap, the end of the mat, is pointing in the direction of your head as you lie down with this mat roll underneath your neck, making like a little neck roll. And once you get down here, actually have your block or your fat pillow within reach, have your blanket or small pillow within reach too, just off to the sides. And then let yourself settle in, let your weight go, let the back of the body be supported, and let your head get really heavy. You can even imagine your head like a sandbag and just feel the weight of all of the sand collecting at the back of the skull. And after you feel like you're starting to settle and release here, then you can imagine the sand in the skull slowly pouring side to side. And that will move the head really subtly, left and right. Keep the head really heavy, really heavy. You're not using your neck muscles as much as you are imagining that the sand inside your sandbag head is pouring side to side, which will turn your head without a lot of effort. And probably as you do this, you're going to feel, getting a great massage here at the base of the skull. You might even feel some tender spots. If you find a little spot you want to hang out on, you can linger there and then make some really subtle yes and no movements with the head to massage that even a little bit more. Great time to release the jaw, let the bottom jaw hang or get heavy. And you can also change where you get this massage by moving your body a little bit more towards your legs so that more of your head or more of the base of the skull is on the mat roll. Or keep your head really heavy and push with your feet and roll a little bit more of your neck over the roll so that your head is kind of tipped back. And then you're going to get a massage in a slightly different area. So kind of feel around. There's no wrong way to do this. Great to explore and let the body feel release in all kinds of ways. The next part of this, part two of this particular opening, is a little bit trickier. It takes some finesse. So if you want to roll over and watch for a second and then come back to it. Sometimes it's helpful to hold on to this mat roll while you do this maneuver and have your block or fat pillow heavy or nearby so that as you lift your hips, Again, maybe holding the mat. Come up and over onto the mat roll. So notice that my shoulders are no longer on the floor, now they're on the mat. And I'm gonna take my block and put it underneath the back of the pelvis. Maybe on or just below the sacrum, right on the sacrum. And then the arms can come overhead. And this is where for some of you, you might wanna have something under your head, just a little bit of a lift. So if I had another thin blanket, I might put that under the head, although I kind of like this little bit of inversion, so you decide. And what I want you to notice here is that this mat roll is under your shoulders. So it's not where we think of normally having a heart support or heart opener. It's higher. It's at the upper chest. It almost feels like you're stretching your armpits or the pec minor area, which is the area and muscle right inside of the inner armpit and upper chest. It actually fans out through the whole chest on each side, but you'll probably feel it mostly toward the armpit. And you can rock your head a little bit here, side to side, just make sure it's heavy and the neck is completely released. If your arms are not comfortable being all the way down on the ground like this, you could have more of a pillow or a blanket and prop your arms up so that they're supported a little higher. You could also have the arms out to the sides and kind of rest them on the ends of the mat roll. And after a few moments here, hopefully, this might feel really weird because it might be unfamiliar, but hopefully it feels good. And then you can either, sometimes I can finagle a foot down here underneath the back of my pelvis to move this block, or sometimes I just use my hand. We're gonna roll a little bit more over this mat roll. And the thing is not to pick up your shoulders and walk them over the roll. You actually want the mat to really like stick to the skin or your shirt and feel like it's pulling the skin of the back down. So not very far. We're still not going to that center chest band. We're still above it. We're still in the upper chest. Maybe feeling like you're right at the middle of the armpit or lower armpit, just below the collarbones. And notice what your breath is like. Notice that little bit of rush of blood to the head. And then you might go one more inch down the back with your mat roll. Again, not picking your shoulders up. You want to roll so that you really feel the pull of the skin down the back. Now, what often happens is it does grab your shirt, and so you might have to pull your shirt a little bit out of your throat. But if that happens, you'll know that you're doing it in the way that I'm talking about, because it really is pulling the skin down the back. We're countering all of our usual slumpy, sitting, driving, hacker back posture. So we're trying to get a little bit of counter or opposite movement of that, which is up the back and down the front. Where usually if we're slumping, the energy is going down the front off the tops of the shoulders. So at some point, you could also choose to move the thing that's underneath your pelvis. That's going to be a bigger back bend. And so just be wise about that. Notice what that does to the neck. Notice what it does to the breath. You could always lower it, let it be less of a lift. And that can be a really great extension or back bend for the spine. To come out, when you're ready, you'll move the prop underneath you. Stay a little bit lifted. Keep your whole body. Now your whole body is a sandbag. And you're just going to roll to the side, supporting your head with your bottom hand or arm. And then use your top hand to press yourself up. It can feel good to sit up and roll the shoulders around a little bit, do a few seated cat cows, because that is a big opening. Shout out to Carrie O'Werko. I think this is where I learned this movement, and it's just been such a great upper chest opener for me and my students. So I hope you enjoy it.